Welcome to Immigration Answers with Seth.
Hey everyone, welcome back to an all-new episode of Immigration Answers with Seth, with immigration attorney Seth Stringer, the founder of Stringer Law Firm out in Birmingham, Alabama. I am your host, Mike Leon. Seth has been helping immigrants in Birmingham, all across Alabama and beyond, find safety and stability through VAWA petitions, U visas, family-based immigration, asylum, and naturalization. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about male victims of domestic violence and how the immigration law provides pathways to safety and stability. Seth, it's good to see you as always. Let me ask you a high-level question here, because a lot of men don't even recognize that their situation, could be classified as abuse. So when a male victim first reaches out to you, what are some signs or patterns you help them understand and that it could qualify under the immigration protections?
Well, thanks for having me. Yes. So when a male victim reaches out to me, I first have to inform them, yes, men can be victims of domestic violence, and they are victims of domestic violence. The category under which we would be applying for immigration relief would be called the Violence Against Women Act. However, that is applicable to also men. So one of the things that they are concerned about is, will anybody believe me? The answer is yes. I have been very successful in getting green cards and citizenship for immigrants who were male victims of domestic violence.
And for the men out there listening that they feel embarrassed, ashamed, afraid, maybe even that people won't believe them, what does the law actually require them to show that they've experienced abuse?
The law would require you to show the same thing that it would be required to show if you were a woman, meaning that the abuse is extreme, that it can be physical, that it can be financial, that it can be emotional. It does not matter if you are male or female. You are still under the same category, under the same standard as a woman victim of a domestic violence.
What kind of evidence out there can support a VAWA case? We talked about this in a previous episode, but specifically for a male victim, like especially when he may not have written down, or any documentation, no photos, no police reports. What kind of evidence can help support?
Well, even if there are no police reports, even if you have not written anything down, there are no photos. Obviously, photos and a journal specifying the date and time of the abuse would be helpful, but you still have your memory. So I tell my clients, you need to write everything down. You need to give me a full disclosure of the abuse that you sustained. This can even be sexual abuse at the hands of your wife. That is okay, and that could be very embarrassing for you to say, but I need to know so I can properly represent you in the case.
Seth, some men, they stay quiet because they depend on their partner for the immigration status, like we've talked about in a previous episode. So how does VAWA allow someone to file without relying on the abuser?
Well, that's why VAWA was created, so you wouldn't have to rely on your abusive partner to obtain your immigration status. So whenever you do apply for VAWA, this is completely separate from a spousal petition. So in order to get a spousal petition, you have to prove certain things. The spouse will be signing the documents along with you. However, in this application, in this petition, you would not need any input from your spouse. The spouse would not know anything about it unless you told your spouse about it. The petition would be filed separately from anyone else. It would be filed with only the knowledge of you, me, and immigration, knowing that you filed such a case.
Seth, there's this common misconception out there that men can't be victims. How does that misconception, well, first, is it a misconception? Second, how does that misconception actually affect male survivors? And what should they know also about the way the USCIS evaluates the cases?
Well, in the past 30 years or so, I'd say that television has made a mockery of male victims of domestic violence. They are the butt of everybody's jokes on television. Everyone laughs whenever a man is hit by a woman. However, in reality, that is not the case. In reality, that is still abuse. It may not be portrayed in the media as abuse, but however, it is still considered abuse for USCIS purposes.
Seth, without sharing any intricate details here, can you describe a moment, a recent client where a male victim's case, it turned around once they understood their rights and they started putting together all the right supporting information?
Yes, several years ago, I had a client from another state. He came to Alabama. He was married to an abusive spouse. They had filed paperwork for his green card. However, the marriage went south and he had to escape the situation. So he came to Alabama. He met with me to discuss whether or not this would be a good opportunity for him to apply for VAWA. I evaluated his case. This guy actually had photos of what was going on, and we were able to submit that. He provided the psychological evaluation and his detailed personal statement, and we eventually got him his green card, and now he is a U.S. citizen.
Well, that's great to hear. So, as we put a bow on this episode, Seth, for the man out there that's listening to this episode right now and they feel trapped or unsure if anyone's going to take them seriously, like we were talking about before, what's a safe, simple way that you would recommend they start getting some clarity about their options?
Well, first of all, you need to understand that you can be a victim of domestic violence, no matter what the media says. Secondly, you need to reach out to an immigration attorney to evaluate your case to see if the alleged violations do meet the requirements for extreme abuse and cruelty at the hands of your U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident spouse.
Yeah. Seth, thank you for the time and insights discussing this topic. I truly appreciate it.
Thanks.
And that's it for today's episode of Immigration Answers with Seth. If you want to learn more or connect with Seth and all the work that they're doing over at the Stringer Law Firm, do me a favor, visit stringerimmigration.com today. You're going to find clear information there about VAWA, U visas, family immigration, asylum, and other ways to protect your future here in the United States. As always, please subscribe, leave a review and comment, share the episode with someone who needs to hear it. I'm Mike Leon. See everybody next time.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.